Hi folks, it's Sammie here from Tea and Coffee, and I'm here today with somebody I've known for a very long time, my friend Izzy. Hi Izzy.
Hello.
Izzy and I, gosh, we go quite a way back, don't we?
Yeah, we met when we were, I was doing an admin for a Facebook group. I don't know whether I should mention it at all.
I I,
Uh,
I think maybe not. We were both in that group though, weren't we?
yeah, I will refer to it as the group.
The group. I'm already loving
Yeah,
this before we've even started.
but no, I joined it shortly after I came out, and I just basically highlighted a bunch of people that really should not be in that group. They were basically harassing other members of the group. I notified the admin of it, and they were like, "Can you help me admin the group?" And I built that group up from about 150 people up to, I think it was like what, 4,000
It was
by the
getting on
time.
sort of 4 or 5,000 by the time we left. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is like I'd done so much work for that group where I'd gone out of my way, got like researched all sorts, like, what our rights are, what to expect, the everything you could possibly want, like information wise. And I put it all into that group. I set it all up with all this stuff so you could easily find it through links. And yeah, the person who actually owned the group wasn't happy about what I was doing and was saying that I was taking over because I was interacting with everyone and doing what someone who admins a group should do.
Yeah.
And the last straw was when was the way she was treating you. That was the last straw with it. I was like, I wasn't having it after that.
I mean, it was one of those things, wasn't it? The amount of work that you'd put into that group as well, like you say, all
Mm.
of the resources that you put up there, all of the links, and to be honest, people weren't using them, were they? I mean, we weren't able to direct people to that information. It wasn't really flowing as a group, but
Yeah,
there was no drive from the top of the group to actually do anything to start engaging with people.
yeah. I mean, well, you used to put up videos all the time. I used to put up videos and links and try to just get people interacting. Like, I remember I did this whole thing about this thread about hobbies and interests. Just what are you interested in? And it was up for about 3 days, and then it's like I started getting complaints from her, who shall not be named, that I was taking over, that this doesn't belong in the group. And I'm like, yes, it does.
Yeah,
It does belong in the group because trans is not who we are, it's what we are.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it's important. It was important for us to share what our hobbies and interests are. It's like, just because you're into engines and motorbikes doesn't mean you're any less female. Just because you're into horses and you still like fairies and things like that, it doesn't mean you're any less of a man.
no,
Uh,
absolutely not. And you're totally right in what you're saying as well. I think there was, particularly in that group, for some reason, there seemed to be a lot of, what's the best way to put this? There was just a lot of trans talk and not really any sort of community talk. Like, what have you been up to this weekend? Stuff just
yeah.
just didn't happen, did it?
Oh, there was a lot of people that would like that they would put up really depressing stuff about what they've been up to or what's been going on. It's like, yeah, it's important to talk about all the negative stuff, but it's also
Yeah,
extremely important to talk about the positive, or how we can even take a bad situation, make it better.
yeah,
Like, one of the things that I keep on trying to say to people is all of this trash talk that's going on around the trans community, all of the likes of J.K. Rowling and her ilk, they they're raising trans awareness.
oh,
You know,
totally.
they may be there saying all these lies and everything there, but they're causing the debate to happen. It shouldn't be debated, but through them and through their hatred, we can turn that against them.
Yeah,
We just need to have a voice. We need to come together as one and actually, start speaking out against it. When you got all these lies and everything there that's said about the community, it's the same stuff that was said about gay people back in the 80s. It was said about Muslim people through like the late 90s, early 2000s. It goes all the way back through human history. Like everything that happened in the 30s and 40s in Europe wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for hatred. But the same lies are said repeatedly. It doesn't matter which group it is. In America, it's like they'll say it's about black people, and it's the same way that a small group is marginalized all the time. It's exactly the same lies. So that needs to be exposed. It's not about cancel culture or anything like that. We're not canceling them. We're saying we're not going to listen to your BS anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting tired of these people that appear on the front page of national newspapers and on BBC or Sky or whatever it is, television program, complaining that they're not getting a voice. You know, they're on national media telling millions of people that they're being silenced, that they don't have a voice.
Exactly. And when they try and pull all the freedom of speech things, like, no, you don't. I don't think you understand what freedom of speech actually means. Do you have people kicking your door in, sticking a black bag over your head and dragging you into the back of the van? If the answer to that is no, then you have freedom of speech. If you are able to walk down the street and not have guns pulled out on you by police officers because you said the wrong thing, then you have freedom of speech. It's
these rights, they are, you know, the right to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, they are rights, aren't they? You know, at the end of the day,
J.K. Rowling can write as many books as she wants, with as many lies in it as she wants, portraying trans people as nothing more than Buffalo Bills. She can do that as much as she likes in her books, but nowhere has to buy them, nowhere has to sell them. No. That's not cancel culture, that's freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And when we choose to boycott Harry Potter products, that's our choice to do that. That's our right to do that. And if other people want to do the same, that's up to them. You still have your freedom of speech. It's just no one wants to hear it anymore.
No. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, I think the boycott, the cancel culture, the things like that, they do send a very, very powerful message. But at the same time, I mean, I'll tell you what, Izzy, there you go. Here's a question for you, right? I've got a young daughter, as you know, and she is Harry Potter mad. Now, I might be about to completely annihilate any chance I ever have of anybody ever wanting to speak to me again, right? But as a parent with a daughter who is big into Harry Potter, I've tried to explain that there's some nasty opinions, that the lady who makes it have some nasty opinions.
Well, it's not actually Harry Potter that's being boycotted, it's J.K. Rowling.
That's right.
There's a difference. Yeah. So if you went to a secondhand shop or a charity shop and you bought the Harry Potter collection as either book or DVD, fine. That money's going to charity. What I would really love to see is, like, if mermaids had charity shops, right, and they had a whole bunch of Harry Potter in there, and someone went out of their way to buy that Harry Potter collection from mermaids, so that money from buying said Harry Potter books went to mermaids instead of J.K. Rowling. I would love to see that.
We'll have to get Susie on. We'll have a chat with Susie, see if we can ask her to pop up some charity shops around the place, exclusively selling things that we've cancelled, to try and raise some money off of some of these people that are causing problems at the venue.
I think it would be brilliant, and the message that would be sent out from that, that would be all over the newspapers. That's the sort of thing where, like, that would rile feathers. But then again, that's what you want in activism. The whole point of activism is riling feathers. It's making people, if people aren't angry or upset by what you show them through activism, then the activism isn't working.
No. So talking of activism, then, you're quite active in terms of activism, aren't you? You've done, I can't believe what you've done, to be honest. I mean, do you want to share some of your history with us, some of what you've been up to in the last few years?
Well, obviously a lot of what I was doing was on Facebook. I would go to protest marches. I'd go to Pride and, join in protests and protests at Pride and, the Pride March, which incidentally, a lot of people seem to forget what Pride actually is about and what the parade is about. The parade isn't a look at us, we're gay and we're walking through the street. That's not what it's about. It is a protest march. It's a protest march for LGBT rights. But yeah, I fought LGBT rights, not just like as protest marches, but I joined the Labour Party and ended up becoming branch LGBT officer and CLP executive officer. for the executive committee. And yeah, I functioned as LGBT officer there for about a year.
That's amazing.
I made myself present at meetings with Sheffield Council. I lobbied for MPs and stuff as well with it. I did a lot of stuff with that. I had guest speakers come in and address the party and do presentations.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, this whole spread of transphobia around the country and the whole idea of council culture and that has affected all of that. You've got people there that if you change that word to an ethnicity or a religion or a sexuality, everyone would kick off over it. But as long as the word transgender is in those sentences, no one bats an eyelid. A few people do, but it's like all the way up to the top, like those in charge. And I don't mean locally, I mean nationally.
Yeah. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think there's less interest, if you like, in engaging in issues that are faced by the trans community?
The country's got problems, and the best way to get people together is to blame those problems on a part of the population.
Right.
People see us as a drain on the NHS. Why should we get the treatment we should off of the NHS? It should be, their attitude is that it's all cosmetic, but it's private. And then you've got the whole thing of like I said about the lies that are said about us. I mean, one of the things that happened while I was there is that an email went out with the Labour Party banner and everything. So this was without the party's permission that this email was put out, but it had the Labour Party logo and everything. It was sent out to Labour Party members. And it even spoke about this thing called a dice game, which it was saying was like, this is what the transgender education is. And you got this dice game where it's like you roll the dice and it comes up with like a sexual position or like things like that. It was disgusting what it was. And they were saying, this is what's being taught to 12-year-olds. And It's like, you may as well just call us pedophiles.
And I'm fairly sure there's no truth in these claims at
all.
Oh
no, of course. This is what was really bothering me about it, was that this was sent out to Labour Party members, people who, because everything within the Labour Party works democratically. You're elected to the position that you're in, and that's all the way up. But if you're putting out stuff like this where it looks like official stuff when it's not, it's incredibly harmful, because that gives, that's got the people there voting a particular way or voting for particular people. It influences it and goes all the way up. You end up then with trans exclusionary separatists in positions as like, women's equalities officer, and things like that, like really high up, or like actually in Parliament pushing all of this hatred there and false information, because people, you've heard of double speak, haven't you?
Yes.
So we all know politicians lie.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's news, is it really?
No, but it's the whole fact that we all know politicians lie, but we still believe them, even though we know they lie. So it's the whole thing there where you've got double speak all the way through. People know that this stuff is bunk, but they still listen to it and go out preaching it. They know it's rubbish.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, and it's definitely one of those things where I suppose when there are so many, when you live in a world of lies, that eventually you end up picking something out as a truth, I guess, and then just following the least the path of least resistance, the most favorable lie, I guess. Well,
it's psychology anyway. Is we all hang on to the most traumatic and of memories. Happy memories don't glow as brightly as painful memories do.
No.
And it's the same in society, like, not just as an individual, but as a culture, as a people, you cling on to the negative stuff more than the positive. It's like you could probably name more bad things that have happened to the LGBT community in history than like the people who have brought about change in a positive way. You could probably name a few, like, but everything that's good that's happened has all come out as something bad, but we forget the good that came out of it.
I suppose it is human nature, isn't it? They always talk about with reviews how if you've had a bad experience, you're probably going to tell 30 or 40 people about it. If you've had a good experience, you probably won't even mention it to anybody, really.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, talking of good and bad experiences, you've had some ups and downs. I think you did a video for us, didn't you, as part
Yeah.
of LGBT History Month? Would you like to maybe talk through some of those things that have happened?
Of all of my friends and family, they've all been really accepting. They, yeah, it was kind of like underwhelming with their reaction, really. Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, so it was like didn't bat an eyelid.
No.
I mean, my father, that's a different story. I haven't spoken to him since I came out, but the rest of my family and all my friends, they've been really accepting. It's been really positive there. Unfortunately, I have had a couple of really bad things where, like, I was living in one place there in Sheffield, and unfortunately, my housemate that I put up turned out to be an offender.
Right.
And I was completely unaware of this until after he was convicted.
Wow.
And of course, the community around there assumed it was me.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. They basically, again, it's like to begin with, the police and everything wouldn't consider it transphobia. They were even saying that this guy was the victim of being attacked, and like the attempt to smash my windows and the abuse that I was getting was aimed at him. So he's the victim. I got no help.
Oh my goodness.
They even told me it would be safe to move back into the property after I had to leave it. I had to get MP Louise Hay involved before the police and the council took it seriously and recognised it as transphobia.
Wow.
I had to explain to them that this other guy, quite well built, big bushy beard and everything like that, kind of looked like a Viking. And then you have me, a transgender woman. The community's basically looked at, oh, look, a guy in a dress, that must be them.
Yeah, that's horrific, isn't it? I mean,
Because the newspaper never put out an address. They put out the person's name,
yeah,
but they never put out an address. They just said in this area.
Right.
As well. The fact that they actually got the right house is irrelevant. They got the wrong person. They just basically followed me back to that house. The fact that they got the right house is irrelevant.
Yeah.
They got the right, they attacked me, not him.
Yeah.
If I'd lived in a different house, the same would have happened. It's just it wouldn't have been his house.
No. Yeah, that's horrific. And what's happened now? I mean, have you
Well,
you've moved,
I was eventually
somewhere safe?
With Louise's help, I was eventually moved to another property on the other side of Sheffield.
Yeah.
And everything was fine there for a while, but then the council moved some dodgy neighbours in, and then after that, things started getting a bit getting bad. And then eventually, one night, on the night of the election, actually, there was a huge spike of hate crime, like all over the country with it. But I was one of them. I had masked men break into my home.
Oh
Thankfully, I was in the flat above mine because I was with my friend there, and we were watching the election results come in. We heard this banging, and at first I thought it was people setting off fireworks, celebrating. No, it was people, like masked people, breaking into my home. No, they weren't just at one point trying to break in. There was a bunch of them at the front and a bunch of them at the back. So obviously they were making sure that if I came out the other way, they would have me there. They weren't breaking into my home as like an opportunistic theft. There was plenty of other places there that they could have chosen.
Yeah.
That there they were after me. Anyway, I didn't go all the way out to confront them, but I at least shouted down just to make it aware that, like, they've been witnessed, and I filmed it all. And anyway, they started like hurling bricks and bottles and that at me. Like a bottle of Prosecco hit me in the face. I was blind in one eye for about a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, they weren't after any of my property or anything. They were after me. They were there with the intention of either putting me in a hospital or putting me in a grave. And then it's like I've gone to stay with friends after that. It took me, I was essentially homeless for about a year because, like, just after I'd moved all my stuff over to my friends, the first lockdown hit.
Yeah.
So I was there for ages. I eventually got rehoused here. That was after doing I had to stay in a B&B for a while, which
Yeah.
I did a charity live stream from the B&B.
I remember that as well. That was really good.
Yeah, I was it was a 24-hour live stream. It ended up turning into something like a 26, 27-hour live stream. But yeah, I was absolutely exhausted after that.
I bet you were, yeah. And well, not just exhausted after doing that, but exhausted after everything leading up to that. I mean, the moving around, it must just be absolutely, well, world shattering.
Yeah, I'm having to move again. I'm going to be moving down to Cornwall with my family because yeah, it's just at the moment because of personal stuff with the family. I'm
Yeah.
having to move down there. So yeah, I'm going to be setting up shop down there in Cornwall soon.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's lovely that you've got a family that you can go and do that with, isn't it? You know, that will have you down there. That's really, really quite lovely. Lovely part of the world as well, Cornwall. You're going to be down by the coast, yeah?
To be honest, actually, it's one of the things I've been missing since living up this end of the country.
Yeah.
But one of the things I might be doing when I go down there is there's a youth centre called Livewire,
Oh, okay.
and I used to volunteer there. And I might approach Andy Rance, who runs it, and see if he needs volunteer youth workers again, because I really enjoyed it while I was helping out down there, because there was the stuff I mostly basically worked in the canteen bit, like serving food and munch and drinks. But I also helped out when they had the live room going, so I'd help out with setting up and things like that as well.
Oh, that's really cool though. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's a good way to give back, like you were saying. It's not just specifically trans community stuff, is it? Either you're giving.
No, it's just yeah, that's just stuff I've always done.
Yeah.
I've always been someone that represents a community somewhere. I mean, my stuff that I was doing with Livewire Youth Music Club or Livewire Youth Music Project was goes back to when they were originally Salt Ash Boys Club.
Right.
And it goes back. I was a youth representative on the committee there for it. So it's like I would be on the committee meetings telling them what the youth of the area want. And Andy Rance turned it from what it was into what it is, which is an extremely successful youth project, which even is going even with all the cuts to the funding of them all.
Yeah.
So it's like they have to raise all the money themselves to get it going, to keep it going. And they have like a live room there. They have practice rooms, and obviously like all the other facilities that you would expect from a youth club. They run. They have mental health support going on there. What they do there, I think, is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, if I'm moving back down there anyway, I wouldn't mind getting back involved with all that again.
No, and it'll be really cool to follow your progress, which no doubt we'll be able to as well, because I think on top of all this, you run your own YouTube channel as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's only gaming stuff at the moment. I mean, I'm doing it to try and find my confidence, because I don't believe I actually have that strong skill in public speaking. I and ah a lot.
I completely disagree. You've nailed it today, so it's really not something to worry about from this side.
Oh no, I'm definitely nervous as hell. My legs are twitching all over the place.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's just us. This is just us, just casual chat, just the two of us. So.
But yeah, the stuff I do on there, it is mostly gaming. I only recently started it up while I was staying with my friends, because in lockdown I had a PC, but it wasn't worth anything. It was basically an office PC with a really cheap graphics card shoved in it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anything with it. And eventually, I built my gaming PC over lockdown, and then decided to do YouTube stuff. So I started doing it. It was like a couple of months ago. I got a new graphics card for it, so I've got. I wanted the 3080, but no one can get hold of them. So I've got an RTX 2070 Super in there now.
Honestly, numbers and letters. I have to have someone help me just to get on a Zoom chat, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's all
to do with like how powerful the graphics can go. So my computer can do all the ray tracing stuff.
Oh wow.
But it's also as well like you want a powerful graphics card if you're working with video anyway. Like I want to plug another graphics card in there anyway to one to manage the video recordings and stuff, and the other to manage the game. So it's not one
Okay.
card doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that might get rid of some of the juddering stuff I've been getting with OBS.
OBS, that I use that. That's the streaming recording thing, isn't it? Yeah, you see, I know a little bit about this. I know a little bit. I don't know an awful lot. I know a little bit about this. So where can people get more of your YouTube channel? Where can we find out about your YouTube channel?
Well, I obviously there's my Facebook channel, which is just Manicland Izzy, but I set up a website for it. And it was mostly because I noticed that Facebook don't like promoting YouTube and Twitch.
Oh,
So
really?
if you make a post, whether it's a personal one or on a page or a group, you make a post that mentions YouTube or Twitch, it doesn't really get out there. It doesn't really come up on people's news feeds.
Sneaky.
And I noticed this drop in attention, like, you know, when it came in, other YouTubers noticed it as well. So to get around it, I set up a website where I basically post links to my videos on there, like embed them in there and a link to my channel in there. So I link to my website, not to my YouTube channel on Facebook.
We're going to have to get you to come and help out at Tea and Coffee, Izzy. It sounds like we're looking for a content manager at the moment. And it sounds like if you're not absolutely flat out busy, which you always are, it would be awesome to have your support with that. It sounds like you definitely know your stuff.
It's not that I'm flat out busy. It's more that I have ADHD and I have a tendency to, like, you know, something like recording a half-hour video might take me an hour because it's like it'll be like half an hour, like, yeah, start it.
Yeah.
And then it's like yeah, I kind of think like what it is I'm doing. So eventually I'll get to recording a half-hour video. And if I'm recording like multiple videos in a go, I'll end up having like a half-hour break in between each one.
It's no wonder you need such a good graphics card in your computer, though. I mean, it's, you know, you're asking it to do an awful lot, aren't you? I mean, stop and start and stop and start. I know what it's like, honestly, we really do. Izzy, it has been absolutely fantastic you coming to talk to us, and thank you so much for your contribution to Your Story Is Our History. Anybody that's watching, we'll make sure that we put the links to Izzy's website at the bottom. I don't know, is there anything else you'd like to add, or are we? I think we're about done.
Yeah, no, can always come on another time if you want another chat.
Absolutely, 100%. We'd love to have you back because, yeah, I miss you. I haven't seen you for such a long time. It's lovely to catch up.
Well, definitely. No, we'll have to catch up more socially, like once all this chaos is out the way.
I've got a buzzer now. I don't know where I've put it. I've got a buzzer. Every time somebody says, once everything's back to normal or once all the chaos is over, I'm pressing the buzzer. Maybe we can get like an effect. I'll bow to your YouTube knowledge on that one to see if we can.
If you've got Adobe After Effects, you can put that in.
There you go. Well, we'll still ask you because I've got no idea how to do it, but that's fantastic, and thank you so much for coming along today. Folks, if you do want to get involved, we love having these conversations with people. It's brilliant just to sit and have some time to talk about real life. Like Izzy said, not every single conversation is about being trans or transition or what's happening in the community. Sometimes we just want to hear from real people and hear their real stories. So please do give us a shout. Head over to tncoffeelgbt.com, and we hope to hear from more of you soon. For now, from me, bye-bye, and Izzy?
Bye.
Bye.